Who am I? Why am I here? What is this channel all about? And most importantly, why you should watch these videos. Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to my channel and an origin video of sorts. My name is Mike. Maybe you recognize me from Luther Manning's channel. We do unboxings over there, or possibly we've crossed paths at a convention in the last couple of years. Maybe we did business on eBay or the CGC boards or one of other places we've crossed paths in the past few years. But in any event, I've been very active in the fandom community for over 40 years. And I recently thought about starting a channel up after considering this for many, many years and being inspired by you guys. So I've taken the plunge. This is my first video. So let's get started by going back to the beginning. So I started collecting comics in 1973. I was buying those 3-pack books off the spinner racks. And fast forward a couple of years, around 1981, I discovered my first comic shop. Things changed forever after that, and I quickly started finding out about comic conventions. My first comic convention was 1983. Since then, I've gone to dozens, if not hundreds, of comic conventions. The one thing different for me and other collectors that I've discovered is I never really got out of collecting. I never paused collecting. I've been pretty solid all the way through since 1973. I have sold off some books over the years, but for the most part, my collection has just grown over that time. So basically, the 40 past years, I've been involved in the fandom and the hobby, and I've been content to watch these videos up until recently. And I thought, you know what? I got inspired by a number of people, and I want to start making my own YouTube content. So let's go back just for a few years and talk about what inspired me to start my own channel. So many years ago, probably 10, 12 years ago, I used to watch a YouTube channel called AMC Movie News, which featured hosts like John Campea, Dennis Zhang, Amy Rose, Christian Harloff, and most notably, Jon Schnepp. Jon Schnepp had this great quote that said, "Never be ashamed to express your inner nerd and share it with the world." So that always inspired me. But also, people in the community, the comic collecting community who have created content in the last few years, I'm really impressed by the number of channels, but also the number of people that create that content. If you go back probably 30 years ago, the community was way different. Not that we even had YouTube or the internet back then, but we had a fandom community. But back then it was a lot smaller. I often felt like I was the Charlton Heston of the community, if you get that quote. It was very small, not many people to share this fandom and love with comics with. So I really got inspired with people doing this content. So if you make a channel about comic collecting, anything with comic fandom in mind, I'm sure I've watched it or I've seen part of it. And also, some people out there have also inspired me to start my own channel. I'm looking at you, Alan. I know a few of you have told me in the last several months you got to start doing your own channel. So here I am, and welcome to the Collective. It's a name that I thought about for some time, and I wanted to make it sound like it was a community, a place to join and collaborate and talk about the hobby. But also, it's a double entendre because it's a place where we talk about collecting and the fun we have with the hobby. So, what next? Why start a channel now? Why start the Collective? And what is this channel all about? One thing I've learned in my professional career and personal life is that it's good to have a plan. You can call it a mission statement, your goals, or a vision, but basically it's good to have some sort of plan in mind. And here's what I want to achieve with my YouTube channel. It's pretty simple. I kind of have 3 overall goals. The first one is to create content that other people will enjoy. I want to focus on the hobby and not just comics, but also the other items around comics, things like movies, other collectibles and toys. And, I can create a channel where I talk about my personal interests, my personal passions. YouTube is not a therapy session. People can quickly get, lost and lose interest in that. I could talk about collecting Pogs, which I'm sure I would lose people on pretty quick on that. But I want to create content that other people will enjoy. So I'm going to focus on the comic and the comic community. That's the overall primary goal of my channel. The second thing is I want to add value to my channel. That kind of supports the first goal. So by value, I mean, what is something other people want to see? And more importantly, what is something unique that others want to see? plenty of people are talking about things like investments and hot books and unboxings and hauls. I still plan to do some of those, but I'm gonna have a little unique spin on some of that stuff. For example, I go to, in a non-quarantine, non-pandemic year, of course, I go to about 20 or 30 conventions. So I'm pretty active. I'm on the road a lot. And I get into the dealer setup days at shows behind the scenes. I help a lot of my vendor friends set up. So I think it'd be cool to show you guys some of that behind the scenes action that's going on, not only before the show, but after the show. I know a lot of the people at the shows, some of the special guests are friends of mine. So I thought it'd be cool to show you some of that. Also want to talk about some, very unique books. Call it sharing, call it showing off, but in the 40 plus years of collecting, I've come across a lot of books that I guarantee no one else has seen. When people use phrases like "I've never seen this book in the wild before," believe me, I've got a lot of books I can show you guys that I would be surprised if you've ever seen. A lot of books, some pedigrees, but not only that, but just some very, very rare books. So I'll be sharing that on my channel. Also, there's some comic hunts that I do. I have some unique spins on the comic hunts. And then one last thing that I'd love to talk more about and share with the community, it's near and dear to my heart, is science and the spin on science and what it means with this hobby. As some of you may know, I know a few of you I've worked with very closely in the last couple of years. I do a lot of paper conservation. Part of my professional background is in conservation. And in this hobby, it's called cleaning and pressing. But I want to talk about the science of conservation. And, I've got a lot of people I've talked to over the years. I'll put a picture in, like a guy right here I've talked to. He knows a thing about science. And also, this guy right here knows a few things about science. I'll tell you guys what I've talked to them about. And I've also met guys like this who knows a thing or two about comics, not much about science, but he has a few things to say about comics himself. So I'll be adding more value to my channel, talking about those people and also some of the topics I just mentioned. And the third goal that I have is just an overall goal, which is to be flexible. So, I want to create the content other people will enjoy. I'm going to add value to my channel. And then if people don't like it, or if they do like it, hopefully you like the stuff, I'll do more of that. But, please give me some feedback. Let me know what works, what doesn't work. And, I'll be flexible and I'll adapt. So I'm always looking for feedback on what we do here and what I present. And like I said, I'll adapt and I'll add more value or take some away. But believe me, I guarantee I'll have a lot of content to share with you guys that no one's ever seen before. A little sneak peek, like for example, this photo right here. Who are these two guys I'm pointing to with the arrows, and what are they doing in my kitchen? So this happened about 2 weeks ago. I got a nice story I'll share about that, and I'll share a video. But that's kind of a taste of what's to come. And I think basically that's it. So there's my intro. You have my origin issue / video in your hands. I plan on rolling out more videos starting this week. And I'm going to be doing a lot more content. Hopefully you guys will enjoy. So stay tuned and keep on watching.